Serious infections and blood clots, sometimes fatal, have occurred, as have certain cancers, including lymphoma, and tears in the stomach or intestines, and changes in lab results. Your doctor should monitor your blood work. Tell your doctor about any infections, and if you are or may become pregnant while taking Rinvoq.
Take on, all right. Talk to your oncologist about Rinvoq relief. Rinvoq, make it your mission. If you can't afford your medicine, AbbVie may be able to help.
Skin tell me.
Sandman. I want to get close. Take the hit.
You'll find we have a way about us. It comes from being unafraid of the hard things, never losing sight of the little things. All of a sudden, coming together to really good. For all Virginia.
This halftime report is presented by Sling TV. Replace cable with affordable live TV with Sling.
We wanted to give a shout out to Kellogg's Frosted Flakes and their Mission Tiger program, which delivers funding and support for middle school sports programs across the country. Mission Tiger knows that sports gives kids skills that help them succeed on and off the field, and their goal is to make sure every kid has the chance to be a Tiger. Second half, Virginia, Wake Forest coming up.
Jake from State Farm. What's good? Not bad. Just your typical sneakerhead working here for the employee discount. But speaking of deals, I heard regular guys like me, you're getting the Patrick price.
Listen, State Farm offers rates that fit any budget, even yours, typical sneakerhead.
Wow. Does anyone know?
Yeah.
Slow down.
Has like great rates that fit any budget, like a good neighbor. State Farm is there. Call or click to get a quote today.
I'm working.
I just got my cashback match. Is this for real? Yeah, we match all the cashback new card members earn at the end of their first year automatically. Whoa, I got my money! Hard to contain yourself, isn't it? Uh-huh. Let go!
Get a dollar for dollar match at the end of your first year from Discover.
That was fun.
Alexa, play our dance playlist.
Your playlist. Dance. Alexa, turn on the living room lights. Turning on lights.
Alexa, can you pause time?
Let's just enjoy the moment.
Hurry in for exceptional offers on the new BMW X3 with Alexa built in.
We did it again. Verizon has been named America's most reliable network by Metrics, and our customers rated us #1 for network quality in America, according to J.D. Power. #1 in reliability 16 times in a row. Most awarded for network quality 27 times in a row. Proving once again that nobody builds networks like Verizon. That's why we're building 5G right. That's why there's only one best network.
Skin tell me.
Sandman. I want to get close. Take the hit.
It's game day. Aren't you supposed to be at the desk?
Technically, I'm at the desk.
Hi, I'm Third Straight here to talk football.
You can't have football without the HUD.
Cox presents Stopping the Bandwidth Bandits. The printer you bought to print things 3 times a year. That tech toy your kid loved for the first 20 minutes. The fitness tracker last used 80,000 steps ago. These are the bandwidth bandits, silently slowing internet speeds. Simply disconnecting a few could help improve your connection.
Mom, I'm back.
Take control of your Wi-Fi at cogs.com/learn.
I was injured in a car crash. I had no idea how much my case was worth. I called the Barnes firm.
When the truck hit my son, I had so many questions about his case. I called the Barnes firm. It was the best call I could have made.
Your case is often worth more than insurance offers. Call the Barnes firm to find out what your case could be worth. We will help you get the best result possible.
The Barnes firm. Injury attorneys are 1-800-8 million.
Plus 3 full breast.
Welcome to ESPN College Football Prime Time presented by Ram Trucks. You are watching ECC on ESPN. Forrest in dominating fashion in the first half. Welcome back inside the booth, everybody. He's the Heisman Trophy winner, Andre Ware. Mike Morgan with you as well. And it never fails, Andre. We talk so much about these two offenses and so much about Brennan Armstrong. We did mention Wake's defense is good. We didn't mention they'd be this good tonight.
Yeah, they have gotten after the passer. 4 sacks in the first half of this. And basically control the game, the tempo, kind of bend but don't break. And they've been spectacular on that side of the ball.
Now 4 sacks, several pressures and hurries. Virginia's offense, after a couple of drives that stalled after that, they really could not get much going offensively. They first try here in the second half, and they'll start from the 15 as we check in with Coach.
Well, Mike just spoke to Virginia head coach Bronco Bendon Hall, and Wake Forest has 156 yards rushing. He's not thrilled with his defense by any stretch. He said they're not tackling well, too many yards after contact. Offensively, when Brennan Armstrong and this group take the field, the focus, they got to win their one-on-one matchups. He said Wake Forest defensively is in a lot of single high safety looks. The guys on the outside have to make plays.
No run game for Virginia either. We're putting more pressure on Armstrong in this passing attack, which will get started with a tip and almost an interception.
Yes.
Forrest, who has 9 takeaways on the season, almost had a 10.
Yeah, that's pass rush caused this errant throw. We got the big fella, Bergen Jr. in his face, the team's best run stopper. Well, he looked pretty good in pass rush there. The ball goes up and it almost went to +6 in turnover margin.
Johnny Woods, who had a rather quiet first half, the 6'11" tight end, transferred from Oklahoma State. This is Wicks on the reception. He is stacked up. Correct the arc. It's up there. It's up.
Wicks got off to a good start. And they got quiet for a while. 5 catches on 8 targets, 72 yards, and then they just kind of took him out of the game.
So let's talk about this Virginia offense for a moment. What do you want to see out of them in the second
They
half?
got to have some type of running game to keep this pass rush a little bit more honest.
3rd and 1. So they're running down in distance, and they'll get a great gallop. They're in the first half by Mike Hollins.
That does. You can do that. Defensive line, you can't just get their ears back and while they're down in their stance, think about their best pass rush move. They got to play the run on the way to the quarterback. Just sprinkle a little bit of that in every once in a while if you're Virginia.
Armstrong, the Cavaliers, first down. With time in the pocket, missiles one complete at midfield. This is the passing attack we've seen for the first 3 games for Virginia.
Yeah, his word is Art told us about Coach Bendon Hall. He said, hey, we're going to start going to the guys on the outside. Henry, Wicks, these guys are involved early here in the second half.
Good sign as well. Billy Kemp is back in the game. He was shaken up in the first half. He's at the bottom of your screen. M plus territory on first down. Again, the time. Flush down. Armstrong. But a tuck and run. Again, Plenty of athleticism out of this young man. And Armstrong gets inside the 20 and tiptoes out of bounds at the 17-yard line. A standard of 31 yards.
Excellent job as the edge blocks along the way that allowed Armstrong to turn up the field. He's just fast enough to make plays where he keeps the defense honest. It's a nice start to the second half for Virginia.
That was the book on Armstrong last year. Good athlete, but didn't know a ton about his passing skill. This year, it's been all about that left arm, which will go to work here in the corner. And that one too high and out of the reach of Henry, who was well covered on the play.
Yeah, but he went to the right place with the ball. They ran a smash route where you have a little 6-yard and a sit down by the outside receiver. The inside receiver's going to the corner of the end zone. Read it perfectly. It's pretty good coverage on the back end. That's where you go with football.
7th play of the drive. Important one to start out the second half, down 17.
How you doing, Junior? Okay, I know. I mean, I was a little off mic there. I got you. No, I didn't turn anything down. How about this? How about this? Huh. Oh, man. You know, the only reason that I know you do that is because I know that you know that he would want you to do that. Am I correct? He would want you to do that. Okay. Wow. I know, I know you do. I know, man. I get you. Yeah, I imagine you guys must be just like, oh yeah, absolutely no way are you ready for that. No, I get it. Hey, if you, hey, I would like to. I would like to. Okay, let's do that. Yep. Could we do that? Dude, you need to unwind. Hey, Chris, without like, kind of code you and me, are you worried about everyone else? Good. Yeah. Hey, dude, did you see that email I sent you? Hey, bro, how about this? I'm so excited. Yeah. No, no, no. What I'm saying between you and me is this. I am so excited. I wonder if my cat turned down my volumes over here. Mittens. No, not Mittens. Hellraiser. Buki. No, no. I eat Buki. That sounds disgusting. I'm glad my wife's not listening. Yeah. My wife's name is Buki. Wow. Good evening, America. Dan Sileo, USA Radio Network. How could you not be having a great night tonight, right? Thank you for coming aboard like you all do. And if you're on my social media platforms like Steven and Ken and Trevor and all the rest of you, thank you so much for checking us out. We really appreciate it. You can go on my YouTube channel, my Twitch channel, and sit here each and every single night with us for the next 3 hours talking some great sports. And this weekend is going to be packed. I love starting it out by doing this. And again, what we do here is we are kind of like the happy hour of radio. All the stuff that goes on around the country. I mean it really, right? You can stick your head in the sand with some of the BS that's going around. Not sports is pretty cool. Watching a game tonight, college football, Wake Forest in Virginia. I mean, just a great time of the year. You got baseball now rolling towards, once again, as we talked last night, the playoffs. Right? Here's something though, and Stephen, here's, because he talks political a little bit with me, and he's on my social media platform on my YouTube channel. You can also watch the show, by the way, and because he knows I sneak in some conservative talk, and I think he's a progressive. I'm not sure. So, but that's the cool thing, as I tell you guys constantly about sports, is that we can get into a conversation about your favorite sports team, your Packers, your Cowboys, whomever they are, whatever your sport is, and we can have a lively debate, end up at the end of that debate, and be boys with it. You can't do that in really anything else in this country. Politics and religion. Holy cow. Pro-life, not pro-life. You know, my opinion has always been on that. Everybody's got a right to do whatever they. If you feel like throwing your, watch this, man. Hold on for a second. Wait a minute now. If you feel like throwing yourself off a cliff, I don't care. It's up to you. Whatever you want to do with your life, or if you want to be an astronaut. I just never really cared what other people want to do with their lives. It's never been something that's a priority of mine. I got enough taking care of my own life. I don't tell you how to live your own. So that's kind of why I've never, Stephen asked me this one time, how come you don't get into political talk? I did it a little bit. I never felt good about myself going home. I just didn't. Telling people how to live their lives all day long, I don't think I could do that. Again, it's just not my cup of tea. All right. All right. Let's get into a few storylines here. By the way, we will talk about the Week 3 of the NFL. I think it's going to be significant. Some great college football games. By the way, there is a massive appetite right now for football. The ratings for college football are off the charts. The ratings for the NFL have been unbelievably great. Okay, so they're even now the National Football League. Get this. The NFL is even now doing this. They're going to move one of the wild card games of Monday Night Football, primetime TV, because that's what the nation is hungering for, football, which is great. No, I'm not going into any kind of political talk. You know where I'm going? I'm going into Brian Kelly talk. Brian Kelly is the head football coach of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Okay? This weekend, they're going to be in Chicago taking on Wisconsin. They're going to play it at Soldier Field. You know, one of the cool things about playing at Notre Dame is that you get to play in these really great places. Soldier Field, Yankee Stadium. You know what I mean? You get to play in like really great places and historical places because Notre Dame is a historical college football program. There is no college football program in the country today that has the history of Notre Dame. Okay? And I'm talking to you as not really the biggest Notre Dame fan, but Notre Dame has the fans everywhere in this country. New York, Chicago, Philly, name it. Southern California, there's even Notre Dame fans. They're everywhere. So Brian Kelly this weekend, if he beats Wisconsin, he will pass Knute Rockne as the winningest coach for games in the history of Notre Dame football. What's the significance of that? Is there any? Rockne won 3 national championships, numerous undefeated teams, considered the greatest college football coach of all time, but there was Notre Dame teams. And Kelly's not won a national championship. Ed Ogeron actually has a national championship. So I would ask you, okay, doesn't Brian Kelly have to win a national title to validate his career at Notre Dame? I don't think you could just roll into Notre Dame and win games during the regular season and not come away with winning a national title. You guys remember a guy, and believe me, I love this coach so much. Marty Schottenheimer was one of the greatest coaches in NFL history. 205 wins. I think he's 6th all-time in wins. I think Marty is 6th all-time. I mean, it's like 205 and 146. I mean, a legendary number who should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But I think his postseason record is like 4-14, something like that. He's never going to get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He's just not with that postseason record. So I would say this to you. Is Brian Kelly kind of like the Marty Schottenheimer of college football? Until you win that national championship, dude, I don't care how many wins you have at Notre Dame. They don't gauge you by wins at Notre Dame. They gauge you by national championships. When you go to Alabama and you win a national title, they start talking about you in the light of Bear Bryant. Okay? When you're Ray Perkins or you're anybody that's ever, anybody who's ever gone in there and coached, you're always going to be put against Bear Bryant. And what Saban has done has been remarkable. He's won national titles. It's not about winning SEC championships. Maybe that's part of the issues that you have in the Big Ten. You know, if you're Ohio State, Michigan, what's more important, winning a national title or beating Michigan or Michigan beating Ohio State? Seriously, ask yourself that question. What do you think is bigger? If Michigan were to win the national title this year and lose to Ohio State in the regular season, you think that people would be looking at Jim Harbaugh in a good light? Well, he did win a national championship. Yeah, but he lost to Ohio State again. You know what I mean? If he beat Ohio State and didn't win a national championship, Jim Harbaugh, they would have parades for him in Ann Arbor. When you're at Notre Dame and you don't win national championships and you're just winning ball games, I don't know. I look at Brian Kelly and go, when does Brian Kelly win a national title? I think Brian Kelly's done a hell of a job at that. Hey, for the record, I think he's a hell of a coach. He's just never going to win a national championship. And you're like, well, wait a minute. Don't they get the best? No, they don't. They don't get the best kids in the country. If they did, they would be winning those big games. It's funny, isn't it? Every time you hear people say, well, Notre Dame gets the best athletes in the country, that's not the case. The best kids in the country go to the Southeastern Conference or Clemson or Ohio State. They're not even staying in Southern California to go to USC. So when people tell me Brian Kelly's getting the best talent at Notre Dame, that's not translating in the national titles like it doesn't. Well, then how come Alabama wins them and Notre Dame gets murdered in those title games or opportunities to play in the semifinals? Notre Dame gets murdered. He's got to win a national championship. Said it before. He's got to be in a position where he wins a national title to validate those 106 if he beats Wisconsin this weekend, which I think is going to be a pretty tough game. If you're struggling against Florida State, and Florida State, for the first time since 1976, is 0-3, I don't know. I think Notre Dame, once again, is overrated. We shall see. Okay? All right. I want to throw this at you here. And it's about Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey ended up last night hurting his hamstring. Looks like he's going to be out a couple weeks. Do you know that Christian McCaffrey, the running back for the Carolina Panthers, you know he's the highest paid running back in the NFL? Do you think he gets – did you even know that? I think, you want to hear this? I heard Stephen A. Smith say something. And of course, it's going to have a racial tone to it if Stephen A. Smith said it. You know, he made a comment about Christian McCaffrey. He says he doesn't get the coverage like the other athletes do at that position because he's white. I made this comment about Christian McCaffrey a couple of years ago when he was at Stanford. I think one of the reasons that people didn't vote for him is because he was a successful white running back at Stanford. And there is a stereotype that people have when you're talking about white running backs. Stephen A. made that comment. I was kind of taken back. I thought about it for a second. Could be something to it. Because you would never think that people consider him the top back in the NFL. And if you look at his numbers, you could make the argument he is the top back. But you can't use him like you can Derrick Henry in Tennessee, right? This guy's 200 pounds, if that. Derrick Henry's 260 pounds. He's built to go 17 games. He's built to carry the ball 28 times. Just saying. I mean, Did he have something there? For the first time, SAS actually said something that wasn't something that made him look like an ASS? You think because McCaffrey's white, he doesn't get the same political, how about this, the politics that play into promoting someone because there's a negative thought process on it? Something to think about. Because we don't promote him like that. However, we pay him like it. So I thought that was an interesting comment that he made. I did. And one thing else about him, I would tell the Carolina Panthers, whatever you're doing, do not use him like Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry could take a refrigerator, throw it on his back, and carry his football team. Did you see what he did last week to Seattle? He goes up to Seattle, goes for 182 and 3 touchdowns, and says, get this. Here's your first loss in your career, Russell Wilson, as a home opener. I love that dude. That guy is everything you love about football. The running back for the Titans. Love him, man. Love the way he carries himself. I love the way that football team is coached by Mike Vrabel. And when you have a horse like that, you're going to win yourself some ball games. Really cool stuff, man. Really cool. By the way, like I said, we will look at week 3. It also is Cowboys and Eagles. That'll be on Monday night. I'll say this to you also. Odell Beckham is going to make his debut this weekend. Okay? OBJ, great. We'll talk a little Major League Baseball. We'll reset and keep it right here on the Sileo Show. Then I'm going to look at the games at the bottom of the hour. That's what I'm going to do. Good, okay. Yep. This will be fast. This will be great. This is phenomenal. I'm talking to you, dickhead. Oh, will we? Yeah. Well, you think you're going to start moaning for me? Fuck that. I don't care. Yeah, I'll tell you what, kid. I don't really care about your feelings right now. Because on Skull Island. No. It's all right, Chris. You get massive passes today. Yeah, don't be so angry, guy. You all right, though, dude? Honestly, all kidding aside. I know, man. Falcons, Giants with the early game back east. Holy crap, would I not want to watch that? It'd be like listening to one of Chris's sorry-ass sorry-ass stories. I know it is. That was really cool what you wrote on your Facebook. Yeah. Eagles and Giants is like watching paint dry. Yeah. Holy cow, man. I'd rather wash my car. I don't know about watching them any longer right now. Yeah. Those aren't my guys. Those are guys in my uniform. Yes, I built it. Oh, yeah, there's a stone in that building that says Sileo, part of the building blocks of Rome. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, no. There's a gigantic boulder, actually, that's in the building itself. It says Sileo was here. No, not enough. I don't either. It's all good. We got it. Dan Sileo, USA Radio Network. All right, Dan Sileo, what are we doing there? All good? We're just jamming out here. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris. It's funny. You know, Chris was like telling me just now, hey, watching your Hurricanes today. When you turned on them. Oh, no, I turned on the dudes that are wearing my gear. Because when you don't live up to the expectations, either at LSU, USC, Notre Dame, or any of these other programs, what am I supposed to do? Sit here and go like this? Well, it's really a great program right now. University of Miami is not a very good program right now. It's not a very good program because they're not doing the right things to win. They're just not. You see, the university used to be a school and a program of dreams. There'd be a kid in the inner city there in Overtown or Liberty City who had no way out of poverty. And Howard Schnellenberger or Jimmy Johnson or Dennis Erickson would walk into that impoverished home and say, I'm going to give your kid a shot at the title. But see, on the way to winning championships, the admissions and the president's office, no matter who it is, Tad Foote or President Frank, they'd rather be the Yale of the South. They'd rather graduate kids. Trevor says Miami hasn't been good since 2002. Absolutely. That was the last year they were decent when they got beat by Ohio State. It's funny, isn't it, how that Ohio State football program has taken off from that game? They hadn't won a national championship, God, I don't know how long. 68, was it? Under Woody Hayes? They hadn't. Jim Tressel, when he won that national championship against Miami, I don't think Ohio State had won a national title since the 60s. Wasn't like they were knocking them down, too. 1970, Trevor? Okay. So from 70 until 2002, Ohio State hadn't won a national championship. Look at that. This is 32 years. 32 years they hadn't won. Now, they've won multiple national championships. And Miami, that program is a dog right now. 110-win season since 2002. It's crazy. I have no idea how that program has eroded like that. Well, I do. It's because, again, you don't give the kids that are in the inner city an opportunity. Because you know why? How about this? They're not the right type of kid to go to Miami. They like the kids where the family comes from money. You're somebody. Your parents are somebody. UM's got a 27% acceptance rate. It's obnoxious to even have that high because, again, you're perpetrating yourself as Duke or Stanford or something like that. And you've got a football program that you run from because of the history of it. You think they like guys like me or Jerome or any of those players from the past? Why do you think they only promote the 2000 guys? Because those guys that I played with were actual gangsters. I've told people this story numerous times. Kid would play football with me. I'm not going to say his name. kid would play football with me on a Saturday and sell drugs at night. That was common on those teams. Common. Or guys going out and whatever. They don't do that any longer. They don't want those kind of guys. Remember, you don't win championships with choir boys. Zero love, Trevor, for my guys. Like Alonzo Highsmith says, they should build statues for what we did to that program. All right, let's take a look at the National Football League. Week 3, we'll do it next. No whispering or mumbling. Remember, I told you. Just remember that. Oh, man. You know what, dude? Really, let me tell you something, Junior. You're lucky. Why do you need a beating? Oh, wow. No. I love the anger. Dude, you must have been. You guys must be. You and Janet must be everywhere today. You must be. Hey, you think I should send Janet an email? Okay. Yeah, I'll send her one. Yep. Yeah, no way, man. I thought her header was a little off color. Fred's left the building. I went, okay. I get it, Chris. I understand. Thank you, brother. I put a picture of me killing Eric Dickerson on my Twitter page. My header. I killed him on that play. Great. I'm glad you did, kid. You should have been in the band Tears for Fears. Yeah. Wow. The pets. Gretzky, the pet shop. You went, boys. Wham. Really, and short. I told my daughter, if you can eat a bowl of soup off a boy's head, never date him. Yeah, no. I said, Didi, if you can eat a bowl of soup off his head, he's out. No good, man. Yeah. Just remember, Didi, if he whispers and he mumbles, never go and trust anybody with that. Wow. Danielle, if he's got size 6 feet, he's out. Right. If he wears Tom McCann's that are size 6.5. If he wears Tom McCann's and it's a size 6.5, he's freaking out. Dan Sileo, USA Radio Network. Thank you for joining us here, as you always do here on a Football Friday. So many great contests this weekend in the NFL. The Monday night game, too. You know, if you're a Cowboy fan or an Eagle fan, you get to sit back and go like this. Hey, man, let's see what happens in the rest of the games and how it shakes out for us. Both teams are 1-1 going into that Monday night game. Now, Jordan Mailata's out for the Eagles. That's going to play a factor. But these games are going to be great and tell us a lot more about certain teams that are either going to be going in one direction or another team going in another direction. By the way, before I get into the games for week 3, I tell you this all the time. This is when you're going to start getting trends now on what you think a football team may look like for the remainder of the year, and you're going to get an opportunity to look and see whether or not you really believe that this football team can go on and be a contender for division titles. 3 games create a trend, okay? And I want to say this right out of the gate. How about this? You see what happened today with the Dolphins? Stephen Ross, the owner of the Dolphins, has come out publicly, and it's gotten out of the building now. And supposedly they're upset about it, but I don't believe it. The owner of the Dolphins wants Deshaun Watson as a starting quarterback in Houston. In Miami. Ross owns the Dolphins. He wants to make a deal for him. They just don't know how to. And now that that's out publicly, if you're Tua Tagovailoa, the kid who got hurt last week, he's not starting this week, Jacoby Brissett's in, man, I don't know. They've been saying and doing all the right things in Miami, and then the owner, once again, trips up and hurts the market value of Tua. You undermine your general manager and your head coach who are trying to keep market value for the player that you took at 5. This is what we call meddling owners. These are guys that get in the way. All right, we'll get more into that here. Let's take a look at some of these games. Washington goes into Buffalo. And look, Josh Allen has not been as effective as we've seen in the past. This is in Orchard Park. And I don't know, the first couple games of the year, I see a lot of overthrows and a little bit of the inaccuracy that I saw in the first year when he first came out of Wyoming. It's starting to rear its head a little bit here. Do I think it's a panic mode for it? No, I don't. I think Buffalo has one of the better rosters in all the NFL. And I think Washington, with this kid Tyler Hanke, I think they're pretty good. I don't think they're bad. I don't think he's spectacular, nor do I think he's the answer. But I actually think if you were going to compare him to somebody, he's probably like a Gardner Minshew kind of guy. And I think that means he can win ball games. Do I think Washington goes in to Buffalo and win that football game? I do not. I think Washington goes into that game. I think they play hard. I think Buffalo wins that ball game somewhere in the area of 28-14. Chicago at Cleveland. Justin Fields gets his first start against a Cleveland football team that has a lot of talent. And by the way, Odell Beckham Jr. is going to be activated. What that means, I don't know. How are they going to implement Odell Beckham into the offense? I have no idea. I think it's probably going to be breadcrumbs. And what I mean by that is I'm not going to force that guy back into my game plan. And I'm not going to sit here and put him in and plug him in because I have to plug him in because he makes $14 to $17 million. That's not what I'm doing here. Your football team is a different team than when Beckham was healthy. You've got Nick Chubb and you've got Kareem Hunt as your running horses, and you got one of the better O-lines. I'm not going to put the game in the hands of, Baker Mayfield, and Baker Mayfield have to go out and win a ball game. That's how you get upset. I'm not saying Chicago has enough offense. Matt Nagy probably going to be fired soon. I don't think he's the right guy for Fields, and nor do I think Fields is ready for this ball game. So I think Cleveland handily wins this game at First Energy in Cleveland, and I think they win this game, and I think they roll Chicago, actually. I think it's something like 30-14. Baltimore at Detroit. Detroit's a funny team, and what you see with Detroit is you see a football team that's giving you a pretty good half. You know what that means? What does that traditionally mean to you? When you see a football team play a really good half, that's great. Thanks, Trav. I didn't realize that Landry's out in that ball game. That's a significant loss for them. That's going to mean they're going to have to run the ball more. You're not going to put a guy in that's just coming off a knee injury and you're going to make him have 11 catches. They got to run the ball more, way more. But here's the thing with Detroit. And by the way, this is at Ford Field. You're seeing the Lions play pretty good. You saw them play pretty good football. I think they even had the lead going into the halftime of the Bears game, of the Packers game. And they played pretty good in a half. And then all of a sudden, the second half, what happened? They made adjustments on the coaching staff. And remember, Dan Campbell's a brand new head football coach. He's still learning how to be a head football coach. The experienced coaches will always be able to out-scheme you, especially in the second half, because they've got game experience when it comes to adjustments. And Matt LaFleur did a nice job on adjustments, and they end up really blowing out the Lions, and you would never have thought that game was close. So my point is, Detroit's getting a little better. I think Jared Goff's okay, but boy, is he massively inconsistent. And when he starts going downhill, he goes downhill fast. He's also a streaky player. He's like Eli a little bit. Baltimore, in my opinion, I think he's one of the must-see athletes in the game today, and he being Lamar Jackson. I just love the way he plays, and he is so freaking tough. I mean, do you know he has the third most rushing yards in the last 3 years of any running back? And this is a guy that led the NFL in passing touchdowns. He's a special player. How long he lasts will be the big question mark. And I have no idea how that contract is going to look. Maybe somewhere in the Dak Prescott room, $40 million, 80 guaranteed, something like that. He's not going to get a Patrick Mahomes 10-year deal, but he's must-see television. I think Baltimore goes into Detroit. I think it's going to be kind of close, actually, because remember, Baltimore can't run away from you. So could I see 27-21, something like that? Baltimore wins? I can. Colts, I guess Carson Wentz went today, right? I don't know what that means and whether or not he plays this weekend. Wentz got out on the practice field. And guess who you're playing? You're playing Tennessee, and you're playing Derrick Henry. So Derrick Henry last week and that Titans team was down. And you know what they did? They didn't throw them off the field. They ran their asses, Seattle, off the field. Henry went for 182 and 3 touchdowns. He was so electric in that game. Running dudes over. I mean, stiff arms everywhere. Spectacular. And I got Tennessee winning this game. And quite frankly, I probably think the Colts, and they're going to go 0-3 on the season here. Not the start you thought they would get. Can they still win that division? That division's not the best, the North. Okay? But the Colts, man, 0-3, wow. I see a game like this, they're going to be limited in touches. This is going to be something like 24-17. And Tennessee's just going to beat you because you're not going to get the ball back. And Derrick Henry's just gone nuts. I love Derrick Henry. And you know what? Indianapolis got a pretty good offensive line and defensive line. They just haven't showed up yet. How about the Chargers and the Chiefs? You know what? Something I said to you a couple days ago, and it was about the Chiefs. Am I right when I say this about the Chiefs? They really just don't look the same. There's something about them, and it's more on the defensive end. They're not getting guys on the ground. You don't see people sacking anybody. on the defensive side. Chris Jones used to be one of the absolute best tacklers in the NFL, and he's been nowhere so far. That defense for the Chiefs needs some work, and I got to say that the Chargers, in my opinion, are probably going to be in a conversation here where, guess what? They're going to put some points up. They're in a desperate mode, too. They're 0-2. They don't want to fall to 0-3. People have said that they're a football team that is a football team that's got a lot of, potential at being a postseason team. Well, they're not playing like it last night. You know they're the most penalized team in the National Football League after the first 2 weeks? You got to rectify that, my friends. Kansas City, you're at Arrowhead. Come on. 30-20, somewhere in there. Patrick Mahomes. The idea that Lamar Jackson beat him, I can't remember, or if it's ever happened, that Kansas City's lost 2 in a row. I can't remember the last time Kansas City, I don't know if that's ever happened under Mahomes, that they've lost 2 games in a row. That kid's some football player. When you beat Patrick Mahomes, this guy could be down 21 points and still roll back on you. I got Kansas City, like I said, winning that game, though. Somewhere like 38-30. It's going to be high scoring because, like I said, I don't think Kansas City can really stop too many people right now. New Orleans at New England. Do you really – now, look, this is going to be a damn good coached game. You've got Sean Payton versus Bill Belichick. Dude, this is – if Sean had any kind of signal caller – now, look, the first week of the season, we saw what Jameis did. You had 5 touchdowns, not a boatload of yards in the game. Then the next week, he completely fell all over himself, and the Saints got blown out. So I'm still thinking that we're trying to figure out who this Saints team is. For them to be 1-1 right now, I'm all right with that. You're going through Drew Brees transition here. It's like going from Dan Marino to someone. Or it's like, going from John Elway to someone. That's not an easy transition like that. And for them to be 1-1, and you're heading into this football game against New England, who's still trying to figure out their identity on offense. Remember, Mac Jones is winning games and doing the right thing. He's not really been asked to try to win ball games for you. New England's going to run the ball, and they're going to try to beat you on defense. I think New England, they win this ball game. I think it's something, and I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. 23-20, somewhere in there. I don't see a lot of offense in this game. Atlanta at New York. This is what Trevor was telling me about. This is the early game back on the East Coast. What a dog of a game. And what a dog of a program right now the Giants are. Their head football coach, Joe Judge, I don't know. Their quarterback, Daniel Jones, I don't know. Their general manager, Dave Gettleman, dude, when are you going to win? This, post-Eli is not supposed to linger on like a hangover. We're going on 3 years now. When are the Giants going to start showing improvement? Saquon Barkley, he's a fine player, but he's making no impact on the team getting better. Your offensive line sucks. Dude, I don't know. I think the Falcons get their first win in New York because I don't think New York's going to win a lot of ball games. If the Giants win 3 games this year, I'll be stunned. That's how bad I think that football team is. I think Atlanta wins that game. And you know what? I think Atlanta puts up a lot of points against that Giants defense. I think you're going to see like 32 points, 31 points. I think it's going to be like 31-17. I think they kill them. Most people will probably think because the Giants are at home. I don't see it. Cincinnati at Pittsburgh. I'm picking an upset here. I think there's something wrong with the Steelers. And you know what something wrong with the Steelers is? Their offensive line's not very good. They can't block anybody, nor can they run the ball. When did you ever hear that? Now, their defense is still electric with T.J. Watt and them dudes. But they can't run the ball, man. And their quarterbacks are getting killed. I don't even know if Roethlisberger's playing. Dwayne Haskins may be playing this weekend. I don't think it matters. I think Ben's toast. I think Cincinnati's got a lot of good things. Joe Mixon out of the backfield. Joe Burrow, this kid Chase is starting to really catch the football. They've got enough personnel on the other side in Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati goes into Pittsburgh and handles the Steelers, and I think the Steelers lose another home game. That'd be 2 in a row. They got beat by the Raiders last week, and I think Cincinnati pulls off the upset and goes in there and wins that ball game. Arizona's one of the funnest teams to watch. And I'll tell you, Jacksonville, man, I got to tell you, I'm really down on Jacksonville because of the coach. I was expecting a little more, Herb. Honestly, at least look like you guys are organized or you're heading in the right direction. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. And I think Arizona goes in there with Chandler Jones and with not TJ, but JJ Watt and Kyler Murray. And I think they poleaxed that Jacksonville team. I think they put up 30 points. Honestly, man, I think they put up 30 points in that game. We'll finish up, and we'll give you more thoughts here on week 3 of the NFL. But don't forget, this goes out to my friends there in the Phoenix area. Hey, local Hooters, please do me a favor. The Valley Hooters has all the great specials. Arizona State, Arizona, Cardinal football this weekend. Get to one of your local locations, and you see all the beer specials that I'm talking about. $3 Michelob Ultra drafts, food specials. You're not going to believe it. Man, try the grouper. I just absolutely love it. Make sure you get to the Valley Hooters. The steamers are amazing. Do me a favor. Tell them Big Sil sent you. We'll finish up the 3rd week of the NFL. We keep it right here on the Sileo Show. Wow. Your punchlines blow. And it's not common. You could have 14 lives and you'll never be as cool as me. No. Wow. Yeah. Wait a minute, man. I actually like that. I may use that as a reference. Hey, you know, the last hire by Fred. He's probably like this. Thank God I don't have to listen to Chris's shit anymore. Looking up? What are you saying he is? Looking up? You mean looking down? Wow. I guess certain people cope in a different way. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Let's continue here, okay? Let's continue here. I mean, look, like I said, I think week 3 of the National Football League. By the way, thank you to one of my people that are watching us on our YouTube channel. Steven says, we really appreciate, he really loved what we were just going through here because, again, if you're a big sports fan, this weekend, this week 3 of the NFL, it's got some really significant games. And then at the end of the rainbow, it's Cowboys and Eagles. And I'll get to that game here in a second, but I want to finish up week 3 here. We left off at Arizona and Jacksonville. The Jets go into Denver. I love what Denver's doing. Teddy Bridgewater has a catastrophic injury in Minneapolis. What happens? He ends up landing in New Orleans. Sean Payton builds him back up again. Another injured quarterback. Remember what he did for Drew Brees? Guy gets a contract in Carolina for whatever reason, Matt Rule and him couldn't see eye to eye on moving the chains, right? So they send him to Denver. And now Denver looks like a playoff team with him. He may have saved Vic Fangio's job there. I mean, you finally have an adult in the building. That's the quarterback of your football team. That's a good thing. Denver's getting better because you have an adult playing quarterback and not this kid Drew Lock who stunk. Miami, there's a lot of noise going around this game going in. How about the Vegas Raiders? Vegas Raiders win this game, they'll be 3-0. By the way, I believe they're going to win this football game. Oh, for that Jets and Denver score, Jets are terrible. And plus you're going to Denver, 28-10. Denver will kill them up there. The Raiders, how about the Raiders? You buying them? Would you buy a 3-0 Raiders team? Now you've got Tagovailoa not playing. You've got Jacoby Brissett that's going to be playing in this game instead. The Raiders have everything early on in the season. Then they got the Eagles in a couple weeks too. Hey, man, this John Gruden Raiders team looks like they're actually getting better. This is a good thing here. I got the Raiders winning this game pretty big here. I think Miami, especially since the owner came out and said he wanted Deshaun Watson. I mean, really, dude, stick to your art collection. You're not a football guy. You're just a football owner. You're screwing the whole thing up for Chris Greer, the GM, and for Brian Flores, the head coach. Raiders win this game. Mike Mayock's job may have been saved with these first 3 games of the year. Raiders go to 3-0 on the season. Who would have ever thought that? 3-0 on the year. And the Raiders win, I think, a pretty comfortable score, 28-20. How about the game of the weekend? Buccaneers and Rams. I think this is going to be like we saw Kansas City and the Rams a couple years ago with big-time scoring. I think we're going to see big-time scoring. Tampa Bay's defense doesn't look as good as it did a year ago. I still think they'll find themselves, but I think we're going to see a lot of scoring. Watch this. I think the Rams upset the Buccaneers 35-31 in this ball game. Because you know what you have on the other side is Tom Brady going back to Gillette and going back to New England in week 4. I think everybody's looking forward to that game. Seattle at Minnesota, I think Mike Zimmer may be the first coach fired, the head coach of the Vikings. Seattle's going to want to respond after getting beat in the home opener. Jesus. First time in Russell Wilson's career he lost the home opener. And he lost it to the Titans. I think they go on the road. Minnesota's not the same defensive football team they were a couple years ago. I think they win that game. I think they win it 28-14. Green Bay and San Francisco. Folks, I think the 49ers are going to destroy the Packers. And you're going to have a lot to talk about with Aaron Rodgers, okay, come Monday. I think they destroy them. Green Bay has been beat up every time they got onto a field with San Francisco. Beat up. Then in the Monday night game, you have the Eagles and you have the Cowboys. We will talk more about that game because, listen, Dak Prescott playing fine football. Cowboys are 1-1. They took on a team that they needed a 56-yard field goal to beat the Chargers in the end. And the Chargers had 11 penalties in that game. They gave up 470 yards to the Buccaneers, and they got 4 turnovers and still lost that game. I don't know what to make of Dallas. We're going to find out. And the Eagles, we're going to find out if Jalen Hurts is really going to be the guy. We will clearly find out if he's going to be the guy. So much storylines. College football as well. College football as well. We'll reset and keep it here on the Sileo Show. Couple minutes. You're a jerk. Hey, I'll see. Hey, go take some time, dude. I love you, man. I know you. I know. Hey, have a great weekend, okay? All right, man. We had an issue.